The culture is actually damn good.
We're not urinating on the fire.
You can stop asking that question. I'm going to be calling the defense.
What I talked to Russell about is none of your business.
Both games.
Oh, the Rams aren't just saying fuck them picks this time around. They're rebuilding. Shedding as many big pieces as they can to try and reload in the near future. Jalen Ramsey was one of the many prize acquisitions that got them to a championship, but he's declined from his peak. If you're telling me that Miami's willing to eat his entire cap hit for some level of compensation, then don't blink. Just get it done. Life's kinda tough when your top draft futures are property of the Lions and everyone of note got injured. Lick your wounds and try again. It's all you can do. What a difference a year makes, eh? Last year was supposed to be a title defense. However, everyone died. Quite literally, in fact, every star they had went on IR. Matthew Stafford, in a great surprise, hasn't retired despite his litany of ailments. It's very brave, but is it wise? It's gotten so awkward with the new faces that his wife's saying he's having trouble relating to the kids. If it's that bad with him, what about Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald? Kupp's still injured and Donald's already got one foot out the door to retirement. McVay's about there with him, and his lack of interest in a rebuild is very apparent. Considering how bad that O-line was last year, it's gonna mean a lot of pain this season. At least that stadium's nice while they keep fucking them picks. It'll be a brief respite, they don't want to stay bad for long. First off, I believe there's a repeat winner in the NFC East. Philly takes it thanks to their offense. Sorry, Dallas. The NFC North, I'm going to kill myself in the future for it, but I'm picking Detroit. I think the Lions do it this year. Think that's crazy? I have Atlanta winning the NFC South. The only other serious contender here is New Orleans, and I don't trust them to stay healthy. NFC West, all things considered, is Seattle's to lose. This could change if Bosa plays and Purdy stays healthy, so I have them in a wildcard spot. The other two slots go to Dallas and Minnesota. As I said though, the final spots are anyone's guess. And that's the majesty of the game itself. Enough talk. Let's get to the football.
5:14, good. Everybody in? Okay, good. Welcome back. Good to see everybody's faces. Who drove over here? Let me see your hands. Who took the bus? Did you have fire in your gut?
Was this a throwback to 2021? If you were to watch this game, you'd think that the Rams were gunning for a title defense. First half, normal expectations. Seattle imposing their will on a team looking old and dead to rights. This should be a relatively quick recap of a game where the Legion runs away with a dub, we make some cheap jokes at LA and call it a day. But then the doink happened before half. After such a display of awkward kicking, the reverse card was drawn. Matthew Stafford spun the clock back 5 years as he skied the ball to an army of kids. What nagging injuries? He looks incredibly healthy here. Seattle's offense? Back to 2021 levels of shit. Geno Smith could not use his newfound magic against his foe. Hey DK, can you still not manage to name a player in the Rams secondary? Gave a cheap shot to one of them. I'll give you some names to remember. Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. They roll off the tongue. Are the Rams back? I want to see more before I say it. Week 1 can get pretty fucky. The battle for California has two constants. Niners dominate the Rams in most matchups. Niners fans take to the road and dominate SoFi Stadium. If there's any solace, the Rams look a lot better than we first expected them to be. Matthew Stafford looks like he's turned the clock back 5 years. Puka Nacua is a revelation in the receiving corps. The defense did their best to hold. At least they did their best. It's impossible to keep San Fran's offense contained for long. There are too many weapons and too many scenarios where they can kill you 10 times before you blink. To beat a team like this requires perfection. Fortunately, there are many teams that can't achieve it. How do you stop Christian McCaffrey when he's in form? How about Deebo Samuel? What about Purdy? This game says less about the Rams and more about the Niners. All you can do is begrudgingly tip your hat for a game well played. Besides, LA did better than most. Remember what the Niners did last week? We get a doubleheader of Monday Night Football again. And this one felt more like waiting for the underachieving son in his mid-20s to do something with his life. Cincinnati offense looks very flat. And most of that is on Joe Burrow not being anywhere close to 100%, but endlessly going out of shotgun and not running the ball aren't doing them any favors. They were on the struggle bus for most of the game. But thank the gods that the Bengals defense pulled out. A brick wall where nothing will pass. Matthew Stafford will be destroyed in the pocket. 6 sacks and 2 picks turned it into a nightmare. With these heroic deeds, the Bengals offense does just enough to escape humiliation. This game was the first time Burrow completed a pass over 15 yards this season. I'm not ultra concerned since Joe should heal up over time, but I'd double the paychecks of the defense this week. Well, if you have any Paycor money left over from the Burrow extension. A tale of two Rams teams. The frustrations of a group trying to rebound after last year's disaster unfold on a grand Indianapolis stage. First half is a story of ascension. LA proceeds to flash the ability that made them champions less than 2 years ago. Indy just can't get out of their own way. Or is that just the Rams' defense? Either way, it's a comedy of errors for the Colts to the tune of a 23-0 deficit. Let go of the Jets and cruise for the rest of the game. Cue the turnaround point. Matthew Stafford's health is fleeting for this world. He suffered a hip injury in the game. After this point, the offense can do pretty much jack and shit. Not to mention with a defense that is continually taxed and exhausted, they learned that Indianapolis is a young and hungry team. The Colts will slowly but surely chip away at that deficit under Anthony Richardson's might. They'll flash the talent that made him the 4th overall pick, efficiently dissecting the Rams' defense on several big drives. Not to mention the Rams' offense is hobbled and can't get anything going. AR has a chance to be a hero for the first time in the NFL. Against an outgunned defense, Richardson ascends to what the Colts think he can be. A leader. He's helped them from the brink to tie the game. 23 unanswered points. Not too shabby, but the time has come for overtime. The Rams will get ball first and proceed to never let it go. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. Only in a way that Stafford can. And who better to win it all than the great sensation known as Puka Nacua?
3rd down and 4. Stafford throws. There he is. Nacua to the end zone. Rams win.
You got really fucking lucky you were facing the Colts. You faced a team that wasn't trying to rebuild on the fly, you would have had your shit kicked in 10 times over. I'm not congratulating you for this. Get the hell out of my sight. When I was hearing this call on the radio, I thought it was an Eagles home game. Considering it's at SoFi, it may as well be one. Another week passes, and another game where the Eagles choose to toy with their prey first ensues. The sad thing is that they still look good, despite not reaching their potential yet. They have multiple ways they can kill you, mainly in their ability to eat shitloads of game clock, featuring 4 drives over 5 minutes long, 2 of them eating over 8 minutes of it. The score looks a lot closer than it should have been, but that's because, once again, the Eagles aren't running at full potential. LA, you can fight it all you want. You may get Cooper Kupp back, but the less you squirm, the more painless your death will be. Just let them get 450 yards of total offense and be done with it. But not before Jalen Carter and Hassan Reddick eat you alive first. No offense to the Rams, they are good, but how good are they really? This is an Arizona Cardinals game, so we know the drill. Play hard, keep it competitive for a little over a half, and then get overwhelmed by the sheer lack of talent on their roster. They're probably the best bad team in the NFL right now. What does that get them? Pretty much nothing besides another L on the stat sheet. If only analytics was able to calculate how many percentage points grit and tenacity had to win probability. Perhaps one of these days they'll be able to stop Kyron Williams from gashing them to bits on strong side runs. Perhaps they'll have answers for the Rams' elite defensive line. Perhaps they'll regain the talent they had about a decade ago and become contenders again. Okay, that one's a bit of a stretch. It's still another week where we don't know what the Rams are. They show flashes of their old glory, but can they unleash it consistently? It's hard to tell against the likes of Arizona. Pittsburgh may be on the road, but it's at SoFi. No matter who's the home team here, the stands are going to be at least 3/4 black and gold. Nothing against the Rams, that's just how it goes. Speaking of that, the same shit happened on the field of play. I've spent weeks trying to figure out what the Rams are, and after this, I'm still in the same quandary. The first half Rams look decent enough. They're holding their own for a rebuilding team with a makeshift running back committee. And Puka Nacua's a beast. Then again, everyone looks good against Levi Wallace. With how poorly the Steelers played for 3/4, LA should have crushed them. But it's not a Pittsburgh game unless their opponent repeatedly self-destructs. Brett Maher missing multiple kicks badly. Matthew Stafford making his retro Detroit interception that looks incredibly awful. And failing to take advantage of multiple opportunities. You can't do that against the Steelers. In the 4th quarter, Kenny Pickett remembers he's an NFL quarterback and starts throwing dimes. Oh, Kenny, you go from looking like John Skelton for 85% of the game to becoming John Elway. Under his might and a strong running game, they overcome Canadian handicaps and take a 7-point lead. Now they have the final serve. And a first down here can finish it off for good.
It's Pickett, the sneak, and he looks to be short initially, but did he get that ball across the line to gain? My goodness! Just past the line to gain.
Wait a second, how the hell is this a first down? Pickett was nowhere near that spot. And it gets worse. The Rams have no timeouts and it's before the 2-minute warning. It can't be challenged. Grade A fuckery. LA, you've just experienced the bullshit of Steeler football. Best thing to do is not ask questions. The more you use your brain, the more ridiculous it gets. The Los Angeles Rams are like that mystery toy you send for with cereal box UPCs. It could be something cool like Chex Quest. Most of the time it's just some shitty trinket that lasts as long as they did against the Cowboys. This analogy had more life than the Rams did in Dallas. LA became glorified enhancement talent in a squash match. They're there to put the Cowboys over and that's it. Dak Prescott and the defense went out there and piped them. Crushed in all facets before the first half was even over. Even in the blood cost, the Rams can have no solace. Matthew Stafford was pulled with a thumb injury and the team dies with him. Jerry Boy will be patiently sitting by his phone in case you want to give him any players before the deadline. Remember, he won't call you. You have to call him. His defense will vet your inquiry. Perhaps I gave the Rams too much credit a few weeks ago. Matthew Stafford's thumb injury is going to keep him out. That means you're fucked. When Brett Rippins the insurance policy, there is no hope of salvation. The Rams are only to be damned. Apparently, they never told Green Bay that they were allowed to have some hope on offense as well. It was a comedy of errors full of slapstick, shitty football. The Packers have so many chances to put this team away, yet keep running themselves into a brick wall. And then fumbling the pigskin. Repeatedly. LA can't be one-upped in shittiness, though. They'll miss a field goal. They'll turn the ball over on downs. They'll throw an awful interception. You'll be gifted the win and like it, Green Bay. Their offense finally managed to wake up in the fourth quarter. But let us never forget how awful both teams look. I'm coming for you next week, Crossy. You will wave the towel. I don't know why the hell it is, but Seattle always tends to have trouble with the Rams. At least since McVay got here, the Seahawks will either keep them in the game for way too long or lose to them in humiliating fashion. What happened here? The same damn thing. They keep failing repeatedly in or near the red zone. And it cost them on several drives in the second quarter when Seattle could have buried their opponent then and there. I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's a 13-0 lead. The Seahawks can cruise to a win easily. Do you know what team you're watching? It's never easy. There are curveballs thrown their way. K9 and Gino were lost for a good bit of the game. Some Seahawks fans out there got their wish. Horsecock Luck is out of the oven ready to sling fire. Incredibly inaccurate fire that makes you wish he was never cooked. Put his ass back in. He's getting a paycheck from the Rams with what he's doing. It forces the defense to bend under the face of adversity, giving up endless yardage to their opponent again, but they can blame everything on ref ball again this time. This pass interference was pretty ticky-tacky to be fair, but it's hard for me to have sympathy when you have 130 yards of penalties on the game. A good chunk of them justified. Maybe it caused the offense to suck ass under lock too. Maybe it caused Tariq Woolen to take an illegal use of hands penalty on a 3rd and 15. Rams simply whittle down the clock to next to nothing, get near the goal line and kick a chip shot to go up by 1. Not to worry though, Gino's back on the field slinging again. Great, the Seahawks are getting bailed out of their own failures again. Just kick the field goal, end the game, and avoid reality for another week.
Kick on the way, leaking right.
Or not. Every Seahawks fan and their mother is bitching about ref ball, but this loss was a hell of a lot more than that. It's another game where Seattle had their adversary right by the throat but refused to do anything to finish the job until the last moment. Self-inflicted wounds killed them more than ref ball ever could. With that schedule of theirs coming up, they needed this one badly. The Seahawks are looking mighty fraudulent, and San Francisco looms large. Prove me wrong, Seattle. I'll be happy to eat shit if you do.
You blew it, boy! You really blew it!
The Rams liked the taste of humiliating a division rival last week. They chose to catch that same high this time around. Arizona isn't anywhere near the catch that Seattle was, but you know what they say. When you're addicted to something, you'll stoop to deep lows to get any sort of fix. LA will simply crush this pathetic worm beneath their feet. Matthew Stafford will return to the legend of old, effortlessly slinging 4 touchdowns on the day against a Cardinal eager to die. Kyron Williams is back and he's burning everything he touches today. 228 yards of rushing for the team as a whole. It's what the Rams have missed the most. Complete victory. There's nothing like the high of domination, even if it is Arizona. Now the NFC shaping up, there's still a fighting chance for a playoff spot. In our hour of need, we have the greatest blessing. Joe Flacco starting a game in 2023. Elite quarterback play complementing an elite defense. Well, that elite defense was in prior performances. Here they were bested repeatedly by a Matthew Stafford turning back the clock, spreading the ball around to his weapons, complemented by the rushing of Kyron Williams. The Rams showcased to the world how to beat this Browns defense, contain their pass rush. Myles Garrett is injured, but he literally did nothing. Stafford had no sacks on his body. It's a fight now, with both sides trading touchdowns in the heat of battle. Cleveland scores to tie the game. At least in theory. They missed the extra point. Figures. It remains a one-point game after a quick Rams drive. Cleveland may get another chance, but behold the greatest blessing. A legendary Joe Flacco arm punt. In 2023! I never thought I'd witness such majesty with my eyes again. The Rams are inspired by this chucking to pull away from the Browns and win convincingly. LA is the definition of mid, but look at the NFC. It's a shithouse. The Rams are in prime position for a wildcard spot at 500. Be ready. The gauntlet is approaching. This is a low-key intriguing matchup in the early window. The Rams are in position to strike for a wildcard spot. The Ravens are eager to prove they can finish opponents off. The last time they played each other in Baltimore, the result was heartbreak for the home crowd. They're hoping to avoid that in a surprisingly back-and-forth affair. Both Stafford and Lamar are taking turns picking up our defensive fronts and coverages throughout. We have ourselves a battle here, folks. All tied up at 20 halfway through the third quarter. Times are tight as... Oh no! Oh dear. Oh dearie, dearie, dear. It's not ideal, is it? It's all good, though. The Ravens' defense clamps up, forcing a punt, and Lamar gets revenge with a methodical, precise drive to get them to the red zone. But it isn't enough. The field goal does get them the lead, however. Now it's time for the Rams to counter. Some outstanding catches and dissecting of zone defense have gotten LA into an ideal territory. And they punch it in for a touchdown to retake the lead. The two-point conversion fails, though. Can't have everything go your way. Baltimore, it's concerning, but here is your chance to avenge past failures. To prove to us all that you are the class of the AFC in every way possible. Lamar is doing his job to accomplish it. They do what needs to be done in the effort to resecure a lead. The red zone has been reached, but the walls are closing in. 3rd and 17 coming up. Put up or shut up time, Ravens.
Deep drop. Time to throw. Lets it rip. He's got Flowers. Touchdown.
That's why you pay that man the big bucks. Not to mention a two-point conversion to go up by 3. There's just too much time on the clock. Stafford's been known for his heroics in the past. Things are getting tense, but fortunately the Rams can push forward into the end zone. And overtime awaits after a kick to tie the game. The Ravens get ball first, but can't do anything with the opportunity. The Rams were nice and responded in kind. Baltimore might need a miracle.
Tylan Wallace from the 25. Tylan Wallace breaks out of a tackle, takes it down the sideline. He stays in bounds. He stays on his feet. He takes it all the way and ends the game. There are no flags.
So caught up in narratives that I swore to myself the Ravens would lose this game. What a world we live in where it doesn't happen. With this victory, Baltimore's won 7 of 8 and set themselves up nicely to secure the #1 seed in the AFC. You have my attention, Ravens. I can't truly shake the doubts, but wins like this help prove me wrong. Well done. Not the prettiest one in the world, but I'll take it. What to think of the Rams? They show flashes of their old glory. That cannot be denied, but how much of that is going up against shitty opponents? Are we supposed to get a proper gauge of their full potential with the commies on the docket? We couldn't stop the average armchair quarterback from getting 100 yards receiving. Don't allow anyone on that Washington secondary to become security guards, because all they do is allow anything and everything to get past them. Before you even look to blink, it's 20-0 and the game is all but over. So what do you do in the offseason if you're the commies? Rivera's gone, that's all but guaranteed, but what about Sam Howell? He's shown flashes, but he's either eating an endless shitload of sacks or trying to be DC's answer to famous Jameis. Those turnovers, man. There's a big reason why he was benched for Jacoby Brissett. The Reskins would try to mount a comeback with Jacoby, but it was too late. LA wins and is sitting pretty in a playoff spot. Just saying, Ron, it'd be awfully nice if you showed any urgency in the red zone instead of letting clock burn out. I know you're getting fired, but at least try, my dude. No wonder why this team is fucked. Pivotal match for playoff futures or not, this only confirmed one thing. The New Orleans Saints suck. Not even the fraud category that everyone throws out there for teams, myself included. They just fucking suck. The fleur-de-lis is mangled by a bunch of morons that channeled their inner Arthur Smith against the Rams. Dennis Allen gets called a coward for being too conservative? Fuck it, just go for it repeatedly when the analytical advantage is minimal. And then fuck that up with terrible play calling. It'd be awfully nice if his defense was ready to face the Rams' attack. All day long, Matthew Stafford could do whatever the hell he wanted. Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams could do whatever the hell they wanted. LA's offense looked to be back to their Super Bowl heyday while the Saints did next to nothing with Alvin Kamara. The whole organization is a check down on second and long. It'd be one thing if New Orleans was disappointing, but it's hard to feel sympathy for them when nearly all of us were screaming that they weren't a true contender since they signed Derek Carr. Not when the rest of the roster is flawed and injury prone and their coaching staff is full of idiots. And of course, they try to come back when it's too little too late. Wow, Derek Carr had a great game. Where the fuck has this been all year? It's awfully cute, but with one of the easiest schedules in football, alongside skill positions oozing with talent should lead to a lot more than that. The Rams will safely guide you into the cold embrace of football hell where they all but lock up a playoff spot of their own. Who dat? A team that needs to rebuild badly. The epitome of a trap game. LA in all but a must-win situation against a team that they easily beat on paper, turning into anything but that. Tommy Cutlets is sleeping with the fishes. Go wake Tyrod Taylor up and hope he doesn't suffer a freak injury by the touchdown pylon or something. At some points, it could be that the Giants are grabbing some of their fluke wonder that led them to the playoffs last year. It could also be the Any Given Sunday phenomenon. More than likely, it's the Rams simply falling in the spotlight and making errors they haven't been committing. Kind of a slotfest worthy of MetLife, if we're being honest. Both teams slipping and flailing on themselves in the elements. The great equalizer. Puka Nacua is also pretty good at playing football, or the Giants are just that bad at tackling. An advantage. Tyrod also knows how to avenge those that fucked him. The beautiful touchdown right into the breadbasket of Darius Slayton. Another great equalizer. Only if Mason Crosby could kick an extra point, they'd be good. It'd also be nice if they could convert this easy interception into a touchdown, but Mason can manage to kick a 30-yarder. Too bad they can't stop the Rams' attack. Or Kyron Williams. Kyron's such a good running back, isn't he? Man, he's so good. Down by 7 and time winding down with pain aplenty. Neither team able to generate offense. Look to the Ravens, G-men. You're gonna need a miracle.
Olszewski from the 6-yard line. Has a little bit of room in front of him. Out to the 20. And going to be breaking tackles. He's still on his feet. Olszewski looked like he was going down, and he may take it all the way.
Olszewski did something good for a team? Would have been nice if he did this in Pittsburgh, buddy. Only option now is to go for it.
It's Taylor to throw. Barkley's open.
That, kids, is why Tyrod Taylor is a backup. The Giants do stop them and force a punt, but Tyrod's going to have to carry this team on his back. Kind of is. Surprisingly, time's winding down and they're on the fringes of field goal range. The sad part is if they have Graham Gano, they probably win. He's not coming through that door.
Good snap. Good hold. Crosby's kick is no good.
Relying on a fossilized Mason Crosby to kick a 55-yarder. That's definitely suboptimal. It does help the Giants tank, though. And the Rams greatly benefit from it, escaping from misery despite themselves. It may be mid, but the chance is there. A ticket to January is secure. Look at the madness that has been unleashed in this, the year of our Lord 2024. Sam Darnold starting a game for San Francisco. A ton of players are resting for the Niners, but that's not the biggest surprise. Matthew Stafford's being given the week off, which means that he's back. Carson Wentz returning under center after being left for dead on the side of the road. You wasted a revival potion on him? Not like Puka Nacua, who now holds the rookie reception and receiving yardage records. But records don't help much when San Francisco jumps out to a 20-6 lead at halftime. I hope you like twists. The most shocking thing of all is that Wentz didn't completely shit the bed in a pivotal Week 17 or Week 18 matchup yet again. Perhaps all can be healed in time. Or maybe he was just playing versus backups on a team with little to fight for. He'll overcome the deficit with plenty of heroics and get them not only 2 touchdowns in the second half, but a 2-point conversion to take the lead by 1. It would stay at that mark. Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold, and the mid-tier Rams finally beat San Francisco in a regular season game. The grudge match for Matthew Stafford against Detroit is intact. May the narratives and conflict be juicy and delicious all week long. The football team were the epitome of mid. This year's Rams franchise is it. Take it as a compliment. It's nowhere near as bad as last season's train wreck. That round of form against weak opponents to end the year proves it. Years of fucking them picks have led to some quality late round finds. Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, those guys are absolute gems. Add to it a completely rejuvenated Matthew and Cooper and Aaron Donald wrecking everything in sight, you have a team squarely in the mid-tier. But they're just not good enough to trust to go the distance. Especially with that pass defense and lack of takeaways. In the NFC, it won't stop them from trying though. Those poor fools. They don't know their outcome with limited strength, do they? This game was quintessential Rams football. Put together a spirited contest, take your opponent to the brink, but just don't have enough to seal the deal. The thing is that in different circumstances, maybe with LA as strong as they were 2 years ago, they win this easily. They definitely would have if they managed to convert anything in the red zone. A total goose egg in that regard. So many chances to get revenge for Stafford, yet it's consistently undone. Too many opportunities squandered. Detroit was dying to experience pain, but the Rams just didn't have enough to get it done. Don't blame ref ball, that had nothing to do with it. Besides, you're accusing the refs favoring Detroit? Stop for a moment. Detroit. Be real. The end result? An over 30-year curse for the Lions has been vanquished. Miami, congratulations. You now have the longest playoff win drought in the NFL. Hold it with pride.